basically a medical doctor, and I'm a resident of anesthesiology in Riyasat National Hospital. और जो लोग डॉक्टर्स नहीं हैं, anesthesiologists are basically doctors who put you to sleep like you are undergoing surgery, और we run ICU. और जो डॉक्टर्स हैं हम वो हैं जो जब किसी आईडी है इनकी पास नहीं होती तो हमें बुलाते हैं. But I have a past life too. I am a mathematician. I like to call myself that because Aristotle said that you are what you repeatedly do. So I've been trained as a pure mathematician, and then I've been working as a computational biologist, and I've been publishing within the domain of statistics and artificial intelligence since about 10 years or so. So and I only have I think 15 minutes, and I have a lot of tests to cover. So without further ado, I will start. And so what is actually artificial intelligence? Well, simply put, it is intelligence that is artificial. We all know what artificial is, but what intelligence is actually? It is manipulating or understanding your environment in such a way as to gain something from it. So the main words here are understand an environment. So talking about the environment, so it is basically just understanding our environment. So within the past 4,000 years of our recorded history in which we are trying to understand our environment, this is what we have learned. We have learned that it is predominantly mathematical. The universe, the environment that we live in, the universe that we live in is basically written in the language of mathematics. So these were the people who are one of the pioneers, who were pioneers of the key figures who started studying our environment. You all know these people: Plato, Descartes, Einstein, and Hawking. But have you heard about this one? Can anyone recognize this one? The guy here in the left. Come on, there are 60% doctors. So this is the guy. Guyton. He's the guy who wrote your physiology textbooks. But he was something else. He wrote the textbook, but he was also a mathematician, a person who applied mathematics to the study of medicine and physiology. And this diagram is from one of his papers. He was the first one who said that the heart is not just a pump. It pushes everything that comes through its way. So then he was the one who said that venous return is as important as pumping of the heart. So this was to show you, and this is the cartoonized version of what he did. He put all the physiology before his time. Physiology was practically inaccessible to doctors. So this was just to tell you that the world that we live in is mathematical. This includes our domain as well. क्योंकि लोग समझते हैं कि मेडिसिन में तो मैथमेटिक्स है नहीं और बायोलॉजी में तो है नहीं. हमारी सोसाइटी में तो जिसको मैथमेटिक्स नहीं पढ़नी होती वो बायोलॉजी में आता है. लेकिन biology is basically very rich in mathematics. और लेकिन if this is true, then this is what Galileo said actually. And if this is true, then what explains this? What explains this? I know Newton's equation, then I cannot catch it better than him. What explains the dog catching a fish, even without knowing the intricate details of mathematics? So I'll let you ponder over it, and we'll discuss it. But first of all, what actually is mathematics? So when we talk about mathematics, we say that mathematics is built up of equations. And equations are nothing. We all are scared of it. The way it is introduced, it scares us as children. So mathematics is basically built up of equations. And equations are nothing. These are little black boxes. In these black boxes function as this. You put in an input and it will give you an output. This is what it does. And in mathematics, we like to call equations functions. Because in mathematics, we want to be particular about things. So equations are basically functions. It's an interchangeable thing as far as this discussion is concerned. So functions can be anything. For example, if I say there is a function for a function that is called half, that turns everything into half. For example, one apple you put in and it will give you an output as in half of that apple. And then with that function, you can even make more complex functions by tying those functions in tandem, or as we like to call it, composite functions. So this is how mathematics functions. So what does the dog has? Dog has this. What is our brain? Our brain is a device that approximates that mathematics, the recipe of reality, the recipe of our environment. And how does the brain do it? Brain is a very complex organ. So this is an image of intricate connections that a brain has, and you'll be more amazed when I tell you that this is the brain of a fruit fly, a Drosophila. It is even shorter than the house fly that we have. So this is the brain of a Drosophila, and it is so much detail. Even you only imagine what a brain of human would look like. So how does the brain function? And this is the fundamental. What I'm going to tell you now is the fundamentals of all machine learning, of all artificial intelligence. So this is the building block. You can. This here is the building block of the nervous system. This is a neuron. This is the cell body of it, and these are connections, the inputs. All of the inputs in a neuron can be received from here, and this is an axon that outputs to other neurons. So what happens then when an input is given, a current is generated, and then that current is passed on to that cell body, and then something within the body decides whether to propagate it forward or not. So it propagates it, and then if a connection is made, then a network is made. Right? When I'm going to associate inputs with the given outputs, the current flow through it will be eased, and this is how learning occurs. This is called neuroplasticity or Hebbian theory. Although I've simplified it a lot because I have limited time, but this is what Hebbian theory is. And through this, a sea of networks are formed. I'll give you an example of it, a quick example. All of you would have heard about the Pavlov's dog, right? Pavlov was basically a psychologist, a physiologist. Basically, he won the Nobel Prize for physiology, but he is studied as a psychologist. So what he did was he gave a dog some food, and then he first rang the bell and then gave the dog food. First, ringing of the bell and food, salivation of food is not are something that are not associated. But showing that input of a bell and then showing it food, they started forming those connections in the brain of that dog. So what happened? This facilitated it, और फिर जब भी घंटी बजाते, the dog would salivate. So this is a form of learning. So this is what learning actually is. And here you can appreciate those flickering of the current passing and flickering within the networks of the neural networks that we have in our brain. So what happened then in 60s or 70s? There was a paper by Michael Hepetz, and they started saying that why not formalize this? Okay, it works in a natural way. हम computer में इसको simulate कर सकते हैं. So they came up with this, a schema of neurons that work like this, जो Hebbian theory थी. Donald Hebb gave his theory in 1949, so they started formalizing it into mathematics. So they made this network. Here this is the input layer, you will get an input, and these are neurons, the layers of neurons. And they simulated current through them, and then this layer is the output layer. So this is what they did. So this is how a neural network works, right? So the neural network that we have in the nature, and the artificial network that we have in computers. So as an example, for example, we have, if I'll ask you to identify an image, identify this digit, you say that this is 0, right? This is an example of image classification. So you'll right away say that this is 0. And you even identify this, you call it 9, right? Although it doesn't look like it. For you it is easy. Taking computer ke liye it is hard, right? And look at this. ये तो 2 वहीं से नहीं लग रहा है, लेकिन you will still classify it as 2, but the computer won't, right? So how the computer functions? ये जैसे image है. This looks like a 3 and it looks like a 7. So what you do is you divide it into 28 by 28 pixels. Pixel is that box over here. So 28 by 28 is 784, right? So 788, you'll divide it into 784 pixels, and then you'll run it through a network, and the zero can be identified here, and then you, with an algorithm of deep learning, which is called backpropagation, this will eventually learn. And here you can say this correctly identifying those digits. And this is the first experiment that you will do. कभी भी आप लोग जब deep learning या सीखेंगे सबसे पहले आप you will use this data set and this data set. So this is the first experiment that you will do in your computers. So this is what it is doing, taking those inputs and then correctly classifying the digits. Or you can also appreciate this flickering. It's the same as that biological flickering we saw a couple of slides ago. So yeah. So this was basically supervised. But what if we don't have this motivation here? Now, हमारा तो dog doesn't want to catch frisbee, right? So we don't have motivation. So what happens is that we have circuits in our brain that are reward and punishment signals. So what happened that recently, in the past decade, they start simulating that also, and that is called reinforcement learning. और reinforcement learning में ये है कि basically जो भी मैंने आपको जो machine learning जो artificial intelligence example थी, इसमें you need inputs and you need data outputs as well. That is called supervised learning. तो उसमें आपको पहले से वो करना पड़ता है कि ये तो we want that output, but that wouldn't be intelligence, right? हमें अगर पहले से कोई चीज़ बता दे तो why would be intelligence? अगर हमें चाहिए भी तो what is the use of it? हमें कोई बंदा बैठाते हैं, right? तो what about things that we don't know कि जिसका हमें आंसर नहीं पता, तो उसको टैकल करने के लिए, उसको आंसर करने के लिए we use reinforcement learning, and that uses the same circuitry, the circuitry of reward and punishment that I will not go into details. It uses it and it works miraculously. It works wonders. मैं अपनी फील्ड से एक एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ कि I work in an ICU, and there is something called sepsis that every doctor would know. It is a nightmare. If a patient has sepsis, you cannot do anything. You'll be undecided what to do, whether to give him fluids or to vasopressor or something else, or a patient slips through. So what they did in 2018, there was a remarkable paper that they published, this paper. And what they did, that they made this the recurrent neural network, they used reinforcement learning. And what they did, the model that they made, it outperformed doctors. For 98% of the times, it was success. It was a success. Yeah, 98% of the times, it was 98% of the times better than a doctor. So it was something amazing. Okay, with 4 years of residency and 2 to 3 years of fellowship, you cannot read, and with about 2 to 3 days of learning on 96,000 data sets, this is what they did, what they could achieve. So from this is what I have learned, and this is what most people argue, that medicine is an ideal environment for AI, and we don't know that mathematical equation. The reason why medicine is an ideal environment for AI is because we don't know many mathematical equations of underlying processes. हमें नहीं पता कि बहुत सारी चीजें किस तरह रिलेट करती हैं mathematically. ठीक है? दूसरी चीज के हमारे जो सिस्टम है, they are super complex. Everything is related to each other. सही है? तो हम उसकी mathematical rules, physics based system बना भी नहीं सकते. तो हमारे लिए बहुत important है. और तीसरी चीज बहुत like if a talk also highlighted this, that we had this availability of data now. हमारे पास wearable devices हैं. और even thinking of ICUs, this is what we have. We are generating gigabytes of data per minute. Here you can hardly appreciate the baby. उसके set of infusion pumps and a dozen of sensors tied to him. We are generating data every minute. Or data this is what Andrew said, that in artificial intelligence or in AI, data is king. हमारे पास data है, we have algorithms, and we can work wonders with it. And there was talking about data. People take data very lightly, and they think that only some things can be achieved. But I'll show you an example. This was proof of the concept paper by Microsoft, and this is what they did. कि from the Google results, from the Google search bar, from the Google search result, from your browser history, they could predict 5 to 10 years in advance whether you're going to have pancreatic cancer or not. Only from that history. You can only imagine what other data would do, right? I think my time is up. So, and I'm on the last slide. So, what the future holds. So, जो science fiction में हम future देखते हैं, that is already here. ये मैं जो बातें कर रहा हूँ, it is the paper that I've been talking about. These are 2-year-old paper. अभी तो और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हो रही हैं. So we are living in the future, and future is already here. चलिए. And जो हम अभी diagnostic medicine की बात करते हैं कि बीमार हुए टेस्ट कराया और we diagnose a disease. This is how medicine works. We diagnose things. लेकिन we are at the brink of true predictive medicine, where we will be predicting medicine, where we will be predicting diseases. और फिर ट्रीटमेंट हमारी prophylaxis से चेंज हो जाएगी with time. So we are here. So बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं डॉक्टर्स चेंज हो जाएंगे, डॉक्टर जो है वो रिप्लेस कर देंगे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, सब ऐसा भी नहीं होगा. लेकिन our roles will change. अगर हम इस तरह की गाइडलाइंस आएंगी कि जैसे सेप्सिस की गाइडलाइंस हैं, ऐसा बहुत सारी और भी बहुत सारी गाइडलाइंस हैं, डर्मेटोलॉजी की गाइडलाइंस हैं, तो वी विल स्टार्ट यूजिंग दैट गाइडलाइंस. और जब हम गाइडलाइन यूज करेंगे, रोल्स विल चेंज. Most of our work would be done by a computer, or we will be employing these artificial intelligence models in our daily life itself. Or, लेकिन what can we do? This industry or the future will be shaped by collaborations. In AI, there's something I can tell you that कि एक बंदा जो है ना वो one man show नहीं हो सकता. You need a lot of knowledge. I've been studying or I've been publishing in artificial intelligence since about 10 years. And there's every month or two I learn about a new technique, a new way of implementing. और कुछ नहीं हो रहा तो कोई नया वो आ जाता है, इसका आपका कोई लैंग्वेज आ जाती है या कोई टेंसर ब्लॉक की नई वर्जन रिलीज कर देता है, PyTorch को रिप्लेस कर देता है. So this is a dynamic field. और हमें we need mathematicians, we need statisticians and engineers to work with us. Okay? So I think this sums up. Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you, Mohammed Ali.